Hey, everybody. Hey, tonight we're going to finish up our trending series. Last week we talked about arguing and what it looks like when we have a disagreement. As we go into life, as I've said many, many times, you guys aren't just junior hires. I think you guys are way older than that, and I give you guys way more credit than that, and I expect a lot more than that from you guys. And so even tonight, does anybody know what's happening tonight on national television? What? The presidential debates. So the reason why we brought that up last week about politics is because you guys are in an age where you guys are getting to make decisions of what you believe, how you view things. And so I want you guys to be prepared to have those conversations with people. But tonight, we're talking about something a little bit different. Who has Instagram? Okay. Who's got TikTok? Delete it. Oh, gosh, I hate TikTok. Good. Don't have it. It's bad. Okay. Now, here's the deal. Good. I'm actually really proud of you for that. Hey, but some of you guys think that I'm really old, right? Okay. Young. I am 20-something. Thank you. But no, a lot of you guys think that I'm really old, and I am old, but I'm not that old. And let me tell you kind of how I grew up. I was born basically my entire life having the internet. Okay, so I know I seemed like I was like before electricity, but that's not the case. I grew up when internet kind of was like just starting. There was this thing called Net Zero and AOL, and it was crazy. And what would happen is if you wanted to go on the internet, you didn't just get to hop on your phone or go on the computer and it was fast. You had to hop on and then like log on the internet, and if you had minutes for the internet, and it would sound like this. And that was what your computer said. All right, you're on the internet now. I'm not joking. Ask your leaders about it. Okay, it was crazy, but it yelled at you, and then finally got on. But then here's the difficult part, right? When you were on the internet, you couldn't have anybody hop on the phone because you used the phone line for internet. So all of a sudden you'd be like, when I say surfing the web, I mean it was like crazy slow. But then like your sister, somebody would hop on, and you'd be like, oh my gosh, get off the phone! I'm trying to look at YouTube. Didn't even exist. I know. What did we watch back then? I know, it's crazy. But so back then, so I've had internet basically my entire life. I know I seem old, but not that old. But internet's changed a whole lot. And what's crazy is social media hasn't been around forever. Okay, but one of the very first, you could call it social media. It wasn't as accessible as you guys have now, but it was out there. Arguably the first social media, like for real, this thing called AOL Instant Messenger. But that wasn't really social media. You had to know people, and it was like this just chat, but it was super weird because there was like zero information about who you were talking about. Super creepy, not good, right? But then came along this thing. I have a date here, right? August 1st, 2003, a website launched called MySpace. Who knows what MySpace is? Okay, this is old school, right? And for the older ones in the room. Outside, it's not that old school. But MySpace was arguably the first like social media. And what it was you would go on, you'd create a profile, you had pictures, you'd post things about yourself, other stuff. And what was really cool about MySpace, it was a way to connect with people. Right? It was super cool because as MySpace developed, you then didn't just have like this boring profile, and then back then you had your top 8 friends. Okay, think about trying to like publicly show who your top 8 friends are, and if you have like a 9th, well, they're not making it on the list. And it gets real dramatic. People get upset, okay? It was very difficult times back then. We had to tell people publicly who our best friends were. And it got weird, okay? And then, like, if you got a boyfriend or girlfriend, they had to be your number one, or else that relationship was going nowhere, okay? I'm telling you, it got weird. But then all of a sudden, MySpace got crazy, and you could actually, anybody know what HTML is, like coding? Okay, a lot of you guys do. You could make your profile look however you wanted with like these really cool backgrounds and like your favorite band. It was just, you could like design your own website about you, but you posted pictures of stuff. You even had your profile song, and it had to be like the coolest song. And like all the girls, it was like the really sappy love song. Like before Taylor Swift, it was like all these sappy love songs. Like, I'm an emotional girl who needs a boyfriend. Like, that's what it was. And all the guys were like, I'm a rock star, or like some rap song that's way too inappropriate and they don't even know what it means, right? That was MySpace. That's what you did. But here was the thing that happened with MySpace. MySpace, over time, it got too complicated. It was crazy. And then another website came out later called Facebook. I'm guessing not very many people here have a Facebook. Okay. You might. How often do you check it? Probably never, okay? Farmville was like the coolest part about it. Okay, yeah, you farmed things digitally. Instead of like going outside and like farming things, you did it online, and then you had friends, right? But you got to write on each other's wall, which that was the weirdest thing ever. You were like, what wall? It's just a website, right? But then, all of a sudden, one that's a little more familiar to you guys, on August 6, 2010, this was the first like really accessible social media, I guess, that was very, very popular, was Instagram. A lot of you guys have Instagram, right? And the whole point of all of these things is that we were able to connect with people and share our lives with people, right? Instagram, if you didn't know this when it first came out, a couple things. It was only for iPhone users, okay? If you had an Android, sorry, you're out of luck, and everyone knew you weren't cool, okay? But it also, because iPhone was only on AT&T, so it was very, very select people, but it was all about sharing your photography. That was the whole reason of it. When it first came out, you could only post a picture. That's it. No videos, no story, no reels now, none of that stuff. It was just posting a picture. And so it was a way for us to share our lives with people. And then as it became, iPhones moved to other platforms and other phones could get it, it was crazy. Everybody has it. Instagram is one of the largest social media platforms to ever exist where people are on it and we just share lives. And now there's TikTok. There was Vine, which was way better than TikTok. There was Musical.ly. There's all these different, right? But the whole point of social media is for us to share our lives with people, right? To show who we are. There's videos. I personally love to like show my kids when they're doing something really, really dumb because I want somebody else to agree that like my kids are just weird and I don't know how to control them, okay? I want you guys to see what I deal with every day, okay? But social media is supposed to connect us. That was the whole point of it. But here's the problem with social media. There's no longer face-to-face connection. And when we lose face-to-face connection, here's what happens. We lose emotional awareness. We lose caring for the other person sometimes. And what happens is when we are on a device, whether it's a phone or a computer or a tablet, whatever, sometimes people get mean, right? Sometimes when you're on social media, if you've ever posted a picture and you've ever been roasted or someone's made fun of you or commented back something mean, the reason we do that is how many of us are willing to do that to somebody's face? Maybe a few of us who are just really cold-hearted, okay? But for the most part, we find it really awkward and uncomfortable to go say something mean to somebody's face. But when you're physically distanced, when you're no longer in front of them, isn't it easy to insult a picture or a video? Sometimes it is. Sometimes you see somebody do something really dumb and you're like, oh my gosh, you look so crazy, right? But sometimes we get mean or we get jealous or whatever the emotion is involved in it. A lot of times with social media, people get really, really mean. They begin to bully. They begin to push. They begin to tear people down instead of building people up, which it was designed to connect people. But right now in this world with social media and all these different outlets that we have, we've never been more connected, yet more alone in the world, in the history of the world. Isn't that crazy? We get to see, I can see what just about everybody's doing all the time on social media. But what happens is when we distance ourselves, when we're disconnected, we forget emotional awareness. We forget to care about the other person. It's not just a picture. It's not just a Google search. That's actually somebody's life that people are being mean to or hurting or crushing, right? And then what happens is over time, when you first start on social media with Instagram, Vine, nobody does Vine anymore, TikTok, whatever, we begin by posting who we really are, right? You'll post a really honest video or a picture or something you think is really funny or cute or whatever. But then over time, when you don't get the right likes, when somebody makes fun of you or hurts your feelings, when you hear people talking about the thing that you posted, what happens? We begin to change. We start shifting what we're actually posting. And then we only post the really, really good things. But then we look around and we see the people that we like to follow. And we start posting similar to them. And we say, wow, they got 1 million likes. Maybe I can get 5. And we start to post like them. We start to do things like them. We start to change how we talk, how we dress, what we're into, what we do. And we allow other people, because maybe we got made fun of, maybe we got hurt, maybe we didn't get the acknowledgement that we were looking for, and we allow other people in the world to change our views and our personality and who we are. We let it change our identity. And this is a very, very common thing. And that's why in this series called Trending, trending is something that is an upward trajectory, and it typically is referenced to social media. So when you have on TikTok especially, we have like sound bites that are trending, that go viral and go everywhere. But what happens is those things shift how some of us act, who some of us are. We no longer are TJ, and I'm just going to post, my dog like pooping in the living room, or like my kids running around naked outside, which is against like all the rules of Instagram. Can't do that. Right, the cup. Oh yeah. One time, the last time we drove back from Arizona to see my family, my dog like couldn't hold his poop anymore, and he's in the back seat, and he like decimated a cup holder with diarrhea. Like wrecked. It filled a cup holder of just smoothie poop. It was crazy. And you want to see the picture? I'll show you after. But again, say, hey, I'm not going to let you tell me what I can post. I'm not going to let you change me. But if I had the picture, I'd show it right now and half of you'd throw up. At the end, I promise I'll show you. But think about it, right? Let's say, I like this. I'm going to go with this for now. This is going online. Parents, sorry. Let's say I post a picture of my dog pooping in a cup holder. And everybody makes fun of me. What might I do? I might go, oh, my gosh, I can't post pictures of my dog pooping in a cup holder anymore. And then what am I going to do? I'm going to change who I am. I'm going to start posting more of what I see other people liking. When you go to like the Discover page or like the For You page or whatever, and you see all these things that people are liking and have millions and hundreds of thousands of likes, whatever, and it's just crazy, and everyone wants to do this, and you see this soundbite taking off, you see this trend that you know maybe is something that you shouldn't be doing or posting, but you're going to do it anyways because somebody else across the world liked it, you're going to do it too? What happens is we allow the world to determine where there's value. We allow the world to determine what we should be and who we should act like and what we should say and what we should talk like and wear and the dances we should do and all these things. We allow the world to tell us who we are. And the problem with that is we lose ourselves quickly. You see, the problem with that is we don't have a firm identity of who we are anymore. If you get your Bible, I want you to go to Matthew chapter 7. You see, Jesus lays it out so easily for us of what we should do. And here's the problem with social media and the internet and culture and all these things where we say, this is what I put value in, this is who I want to be, this is what I want to act like. If we only apply in our lives the things that are trending or viral, what happens to things that are viral? What happens? After like a week usually. Nobody cares, right? Anybody see Tiger King? You shouldn't have, but some of you did. Everybody talked about Tiger King, and then like a week later, nobody cared, right? That happens on TikTok. It happens on Instagram. All these viral trends that go crazy. A few days later, a few weeks, no one is talking about it anymore. And what happens when we say, this is who I want to be, I want to follow this trend, I want to dress like this, I want to wear this, I want to do this. When we lose ourselves, we no longer have a strong foundation, something that will last beyond a week. And as soon as the next thing comes up, we're going to jump on that. And as soon as our friends change, we're going to follow them. And as soon as this is cool, we're going to do that. And at some point, you're going to look back and go, I don't even know who I was through junior high. I changed too often. I didn't have an identity. I didn't know who I was. And if you let the world determine what those things are, as you go to high school and then college, you'll just continue to be lost. You continue to not have a foundation which is solid in your life that says, this is the good things I should be doing. This is the positive direction I want to go. These are the things that I should be doing because it's right. You'll continue to allow the world and people and social media to tell you who you are and what you should be doing. And you'll never be able to put your name on it and say, this is who I am. Because you see, if you're following TikTok, if you're following Instagram and the hashtag and this and the dress, whatever, the music, all whatever, you can't put your name on it because that's not you. That's not originally you. If you're following TikTok and all the crazy, what we'll call celebrities nowadays is TikTok stars and whatever that was, right? If we allow those people to determine who we are, you can't say, oh, that's TJ. Because deep down you're going to know, actually, I got that from them. I followed them to do this. And again, we go back to social media, what's going to happen is you're going to get hurt too. If you can't say, this is who I am and this is who I want to be, you'll continue to get hurt by bullies, and you'll let strangers tell you who you're meant to be and what you're supposed to follow. So let's go to Matthew chapter 7, verse 24. This is where Jesus is doing something called the Sermon on the Mount, where he's giving so much wisdom to a crowd of people and his disciples. And he's saying, hey, guys, listen, here is some of the best knowledge I have for you, and here's how I want you to live your life, and here's the things that you should be doing. And this is right at the end of the Sermon on the Mount, right before he's done. Matthew chapter 7, verse 24, it says this. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against the house, and it fell with a great crash. But everyone who hears these words of mine and does not put them into practice is like a foolish man who built his house on sand. So here's the analogy he's putting, and Jesus does such a great job of using illustration. Because if you're like me, if there's a book and there's a movie, I'm going to watch the movie because it's just easier to see and visualize, right? So Jesus tries to say, hey, let me tell you a story. Let me tell you something you can visually think about. So what he's saying is if you hear the words of Jesus, if you hear love God, love others, if you hear him taking care of people and healing the sick and looking out for the ones that the community and the culture have lost, if you hear those things, if you see them, and you do nothing with that, if you continue to let the world tell you who to be, if you continue to let social media say this is where we should go, this is, as a culture, what we should believe in and do, and all those things, then you're like a foolish person who's going to build their house on sand, right? And if you've ever built a sand castle, what happens when the waves come? It falls down. It falls apart. Right? Because the waves come crashing and the water gets inside and it just falls apart because there's nothing that is strong and firm inside that says, no, I'm going to stand strong through the storms and as the streams rise and as the wind blows. However, if you hear the words of Jesus, where it's love God, love others, take care of those who are weak, take care of the least of these in our society who has less, who people overlook, if we do those things, hear them, and we follow them, and that is the foundation of our life. It's not what social media says. It's not what Instagram or TikTok says we should do or be. It's not what the cyberbullies say this is who you should be, or strangers say this is what I want from you. That's not it. If we allow ourselves to listen to the words of Jesus, to love people around us and to take care of those who have less, that foundation inside of you, no matter what trend comes along, no matter what viral thing happens, you know who you are if you believe in that and if you live that life. And that is like the wise man who builds their house on a rock. Because when the storms come, when the water rises, when the wind comes beating down, the house stands because it has a firm foundation below it. It doesn't sway and waver as trends come and go. It doesn't sway and waver as your friends say this is cool or that's cool. When you know who you are, when you believe the words of Jesus, when you hear them and do them, the foundation for your life is there. You'll be strong in the midst of turmoil. You'll be strong in the midst of crazy things. You'll be strong in the midst of storms that say you won't make it out. But then when the storm passes, you'll still be standing there. You see, the storms and struggles, oftentimes those are going to come with social media, with people on the other side of a screen saying what they want, telling you who you should be. Those storms will come because you won't feel confident in who you are because you're being told what you should be based on what other people think of you. What I want to encourage you guys to do tonight is this. If you're on social media or if at some point in the future you plan to be, when your parents say yes, I want you to start tonight by choosing to ignore what the world says you should be. By choosing to ignore the trending topics and saying, I want to follow after that. And I want you to find a core belief and a base foundation for your life, which what I want to encourage you to do is continue to read the Sermon on the Mount. It's in Matthew chapter 7. Jesus gives us so much instruction for how we are to live our lives and encouragement, because what Jesus knows is that when we have him at the center, when there's love in our hearts, when we care for others, and that's a focus, we'll have love around us. We won't have people beating us up and saying things about us and hiding behind a screen telling us what they really think about us because they're scared to say it to our face or because they're jealous of who we are and they see our happiness and all those things. No. When we choose that this is who I want to be by hearing God's word and following it, no matter what storm, no matter what trend, no matter what viral thing comes along, we'll be able to stand strong and say, no, I don't care what comes and goes. Here's one thing that has lasted forever and will last forever in the future. And it's the word of God. And it's the promise that Jesus came to this earth. He lived the perfect life. He died on the cross for each and every one of you so you could live eternity in heaven. If you hear those words and you believe them and you live your life based on that truth, it won't matter what people say on Instagram. It won't matter what people comment on TikTok. None of that will matter. what will stay true is the understanding and the relationship that we have with Jesus. I'm going to invite the band back up. So I have a question for you guys, and it's this. When you look at your life this year, the year before, the future even, what are you building your life on? What are you building your life on? Are you building your life on something that's going to be here today and go tomorrow? Are you building your life on something that is so irrelevant and so unimportant to the longevity of your life and the direction you want to head that you're going to allow other people in your world, maybe not even necessarily in your world, just somebody on the other side of a screen, are you going to let them determine who you are? Are you going to let them tell you this is what you should be, this is what you should do, this is how you should talk? Or are you going to choose tonight that, no, I'm going to be the person that God has always meant for me to be? I'm going to be the person that God has always planned for me to be. I'm going to be the one that Jesus came to die on this cross for. I'm not going to care about anything else. I'm going to live in that truth. That there's a God who loves me. And when I post my dog pooping in a cup holder, God loves me. When you post who you really are, when you live out who you really are, no matter what somebody else says to your face or on social media, digitally, behind a screen, hiding away, that there is a God who loves you exactly the way you are. You were created in God's image, so don't let others tell you who you should be. You were created in God's image, so don't let others push you to do something that you know isn't you. Don't change who you are. Don't change how you dress. Don't change how you talk. Don't change your interests. Don't change that unless it pushes you further into a relationship with Jesus. Don't change who you are unless it pushes you further to the truth. There's a God who created you and loves you, sent his one and only Son to die on the cross for you. Don't allow others and culture to tell you what you should be. Believe that you are enough, and let that be the foundation for your life as you go forward to make decisions, form relationships, how you talk, how you love people, and how you care for those around you. So my question to you is this as you go to small groups. What are you building your life on? Is it the thoughts of others? Is it what culture says is cool and relevant? Or is it a truth that there's a God who loves you right where you are? What are you building your life